My name is Richie Angerone, and welcome to my kitchen. Today's menu calls for a Veiner Schnitzel, a dish that I picked up when I was stationed over in Germany, mashed potato carrot pie with roasted garlic, and a cold red bean salad. The ingredients are as follows: all-purpose flour, veal cutlets, eggs, carrots, potatoes, garlic, sweet potato, peas, spices, saltine crackers, olive oil, nutmeg, Cool Whip, red beans, butter, kosher salt, and fresh ground pepper. Let's begin. We're going with water 101. You often hear that when people are using water to cook, they say use cold water. The reason for that is that the cold water actually goes through all the pipes in the house a lot quicker than if you were to use hot water. The hot water comes from a boiler that could be rusted, and sometimes that imparts its own flavor to a dish, and you think to yourself, was it something that I bought? No, it's the water. So use cold water, and to that we're going to add the root vegetables. When you cook them with the skin on. I'll show you why in a moment. The garlic, the whole clove, we're going to use two bulbs. And the way we do that is we're going to cut the top of it off, like that. To that we're going to add a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of thyme, some kosher salt, and black pepper. We're going to put that in a piece of aluminum foil, and we're going to put that in the oven for about 50 minutes at 350 degrees until it becomes soft. All right, we're going to start with the root vegetables. They're going to be carrots, it's going to be one sweet potato, and 4 or 5 of these Idaho potatoes. I use them because of the starch content in them, and I cook them with the skins on, and I'll show you why in a couple of minutes. This goes on top of the stove. All right, now I have the potatoes, the mashed potatoes all done with the carrot. I'm going to bring out the roasted garlic. These have been cooking for about 50 minutes at 350 degrees. I'm going to show you the difference between using a masher and a ricer. This is a cooked potato. You cut it, and this is the effect that you get from using a masher. When you use a ricer like this, you put the other half of that potato in it, with the skin showing. When you mash down on it, you can see the difference. Masher, ricer. To this we're going to add that roasted garlic. This was in the oven for about 50 minutes. And you could tell by sticking the toothpick in it and retrieving it. If it goes in smooth like that, you know it's done. This is the roasted garlic. With one squeeze, you take all the meat and it goes right in. As simple as that. We'll do the second one in a moment, but in the meantime we're going to get the nutmeg, and this is going to be added to the dish. Fresh, of course. Not too much. This is going to serve about 5 or 6 people, so I guess about 30 grinds would be fine with that. The sweet potato is going to give it, of course, its own sweetness, but a little bit of salt, not too much, kosher, and some black pepper. About 20 grinds will do. And because this is still hot, we're going to use a half a stick of butter. I can hear your arteries hardening right now, but that's the way it is. That'll melt into it. We'll get back to that in a moment. Some of you hippies from the 60s might remember the Cool Whip coming out of an aerosol jar into your nose. We're not doing that today. It gives it a fluffiness, another dimension of sweetness, and we're going to fold that in to mix everything together. Now we're going to get a basic Pyrex dish. To that we're going to put some butter so everything comes out at one piece and doesn't stick. That's pretty good. All right. And then we put in, with my impeccably clean hands, by the way, The last item that we're going to incorporate with it are peas. Put them in. We're going to use breadcrumbs not only for the Wiener Schnitzel but also for a topping for the potato carrot pie. Just to give you an illustration, these are breadcrumbs. I'm not a food prude. I use them myself. It's only when you find them in your cabinet that they were there from the Eisenhower administration. You got to get rid of that. Anything that lasts that long is not good for you. These are breadcrumbs. Let me demonstrate. These will do in a pinch. What I like to use are saltine crackers. They're inexpensive. Now just take a look at the difference. Okay, better, old, no. So the potatoes are ready for the oven. We're going to take these ground cracker crumbs, place it on top. They give it a nice crunch and a nice look. I already peaked the potatoes, so when they come out, they're going to have their own special appearance. Into a 325-degree oven on the top rack for about 15-20 minutes. Everything is cooked already. You just want to warm it through. And then the last 5 minutes you put it to broil just to get that browning quality, and they're done. The cold bean salad. You could use 3 beans, kidney beans, black-eyed peas or whatever. This I enjoy. This came from the can. I rinsed it from the packing fluid, and this is going to be the first ingredient that we're going to use in that cold bean salad. Normally, for a dish like this, when I was eating in Germany, for example, they would serve a red cabbage. That's a sweet and sour, different dimension that they add to it. The reason for that is because when you eat something as rich as a Wiener Schnitzel, you want to have something that's going to cut through that palate so that every taste that you get from the Wiener Schnitzel is going to be like the first one that you took. So a sweet and sour over here, this is the way to go. We're going to put our beans in there, red kidney beans in there. We're going to take the labeling out from there because I don't think anybody's interested in that. To that we're going to add about that much red onion. We have honey, and in here we have apple cider vinegar. Add one to the other. Normally they would use sugar for this, but honey gives a property that I really enjoy more than sugar does. That goes in. To this we're going to add kosher salt, celery salt, caraway seed, cayenne pepper, and a little bit of parsley. That all goes in. Again with our hands, they're very clean. You put it into a Ziploc bag. Everything lays flat, and you only have to turn it once. This has to be refrigerated for about, I'd say about 3 or 4 hours. If you did it overnight, it would be even better. And this is ready to go. We're going to start assembling our dish right now. We're going to use flour on top of the veal. Then it goes into an egg wash. The proper way of cracking an egg: hit it on a 45-degree angle. Every kitchen has one of these. You don't have to buy anything. And put that in. 1 egg for all of this will be sufficient. The brown egg and the white egg, both of them taste the same. This has a nice Martha Stewart kind of effect, so I'll use them. Brown eggs come from brown chickens, white eggs come from white chicken. That's as simple as that. We're going to put a little bit of water in this. Again, the clarified butter, we remove the fat that came to the top. We discard that. And what we have left is the clarified butter. The solids stay in the bottom, we're not using that. Let it brown for just a second. That gives it another dimension of nuttiness that we like. Now we floured our cutlets, and we're going to put them in the egg wash, into our cracker crumbs. Again, press hard on that. You want to get a nice crust to it. And in they go. Probably a minute or a minute and a half on either side. They're so tender, they're just going to fall apart. They've been sauteing for about 2.5–3 minutes. They cook very quickly. They're very tender. Turn them over. You could see when you do the butter to that browning stage how beautifully they look. One turn on the other side, they're going to stay for about maybe a minute and a half to 2 minutes, and they're finished. These are finished right now. So we're going to get a grate, put it over a fire. And the reason why we do this is because they're crunchy, because of that cracker breading that we put on top, and we really don't want them to sit on top of each other. What that does is develops steam, and you lose that crunchy property that we really maintains the integrity of this particular dish. So put them right here to cool, like so. I'll finish these up, and we'll come back in a couple of minutes. We're ready to assemble our dish. We have the veal cutlet over here, cold red bean salad that macerated for about 2 hours. You should keep it in there for a little longer. And you can see how beautiful this potato carrot pie with the roasted garlic and butter and fresh peas came out. Traditionally, in Vienna cooking, they don't use a sauce or gravy, anything like that for this dish. What they do is they use a poached or a fried egg that goes on top of it. I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. Fry it, one crack, should come out beautiful like that. We don't want to turn it, so instead what we're going to do is put a plate on top so it poaches in the pan. We'll be back in a minute. One of our Veiner Schnitzels that are plated. Now we just take this and we place it on top. When we put the mashed potatoes on, you don't want to take it and just turn it upside down because you want that crunchiness on top. 2 spoons for this. Just plate it like so. And for a cold red bean salad, again, this is ready to go. And we plate. This is how it would be served in a guest house in Germany, the way I remember it 45 years ago. A little cracked black pepper on top. And again, no sauce, no gravy. The way they ate it, or the way they taught me to eat it, was to cut a piece, get a little bit of the yolk on top, and a little bit of the potato on it. And Tommy, I wish you were here to taste it. As good as it looks. Really delicious. Try it. Some of you hippies might be Some of you hippies might remember using this stuff in the aerosol can, whip it. That's why I'm using it. Some of you hippies from the 60s. Some of you hippies from the 60s might remember. Some of you hippies from the 60s might remember the Cool Whip coming out of an aerosol jar into your nose. We're not doing that today. Cameraman, please control yourself.